The legend is here. Look at that figure. Look at that hair. Oh, that hair. Wow. Zach, my man, welcome back. It has been way too long. It is good to see you, and now even more gamers are going to be able to play your awesome game and get to know exactly who you are. What's going on, everyone? Tallen here, Five9 Direct, and it is time to talk everything that happened during the Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary live stream, or premiere, whichever one it was. Now, I won't lie, out of everything that's been shown through the Summer Game Show, the Xbox Showcase, and everything in between, this actually has me the most hyped. Don't get me wrong, there were a lot of cool announcements during both of those events and everything else, but there's just something about this short but sweet announcement. It was just mwah, chef's kiss, essentially. Now, don't worry, this is not going to be some fanboying going crazy over some 2 games, and that's basically it. Let's be real here, okay? We've got real expectations here. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. Everyone was really only hyped for 2 of the main 4 announcements that were shown. Technically 5, I guess, but 4 announcements during this entire whole live stream thing. But I guess on the other hand, it just simply shows you that that's how powerful the name Final Fantasy VII is and how popular of a franchise this is. Plus, just being a Square Enix fan right now is amazing. We got Final Fantasy 16, we got Rebirth Final Fantasy 7, Crisis Core coming out, which is basically a remaster of it. We've got Final Fantasy 14 Update 6.2, we got Ever Crisis, Kingdom Hearts 4, Dragon Quest 12, and Forspoken, and so much more. As long as they stick the landing, that is the big one. Can they stick the landing with these games? Only time will tell, but regardless, lots of stuff coming out over the next 12 months. Hey, I feel like I just saw that with the Xbox stuff. Next 12 months having a lot of stuff coming out. If it works, it works, I guess. Now, let's put a quick timeline together real quick for this video. We're going to quickly go over the announcements real quick because, again, it's been out on the internet now for over 12 hours now, essentially. Sorry again for this video, just being a tad little late. Had to go to work, then come back, make the video and everything. But regardless, we're going to go over quickly what was in the announcements. Then I want to talk about Crisis Core and what it can not only mean for the game finally coming to another platform besides the PSP, but what also is available with the story. And then finally, we're going to talk Remake Part 2 for Final Fantasy VII and what the title actually means, because it actually has a little bit of a hidden meaning when you look at the Japanese title, which if you just simply look at it from a English word base, it's the same. But if you look at the word in Japanese, it means something a little different and might have some hidden meanings. We're going to talk about that. Real quickly though, I want to give thanks to 3 special people: Suku, the Nemesis Gamer, and Ratnesh. Thank you so much for hitting the sub button and supporting the Five9 Direct channel and joining the Five9 Direct family. If you want to hear your name in a potential feature video, hit that sub button. It's free for everybody right there. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below. Let us know what was your favorite reveal during this entire thing and what is your most anticipated Square Enix game coming out in the next 12 months, assuming everything stays on schedule. All right, enough talk. Let's talk games. Now, real quick, let's go over what was shown in the 15-minute stream / premiere. First, we got confirmation that Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate is now going to be available on Steam at the time of this recording. So that's really awesome because it's only been on the Epic Game Store for a while now. Total side note that I just remembered though, I do remember hearing that the PC port did have some issues when it initially went on to the Epic Game Store. So I'm not sure if those things have been ironed out. So make sure you check out Steam reviews and make sure you check out other reviews before potentially buying it on Steam in case they haven't been able to iron those things out yet. After the Steam reveal for Final Fantasy VII, next we got a quick merch clip and then some details on Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier Season 3 on mobile. Now, if anyone knows me, then you know that I really don't care about mobile games, and especially BRs. They're not exactly my thing. Yet they did say though it will be adding new weapons and a new map for you to play, so if you happen to be into that game, then you're going to be having some good fun right there. After that, some more clips of Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis was shown off, with the beta getting an announcement for 2022 and a release in the same year for mobile. However, we still don't have exact days or months or anything like that, so we'll have to wait and see when that information will become available, and then hopefully we'll get some good dates there. Then finally, we got the 2 big announcements: Final Fantasy Crisis Core Reunion, releasing on all major platforms, including the Switch in the winter of 2022, and Final Fantasy Rebirth, aka Remake Part 2, releasing next year in the winter. And oh boy, I jumped for joy when I saw this. I actually literally jumped a little bit because I was walking to the station to catch my train to go to work. I mean, Crisis Core alone was enough for me to be hyped, but then to see a trailer teaser for part 2, which by the way, I will simply be saying Rebirth from now on since that's the official name. Kind of weird, it could confuse some people, but regardless, just remember Rebirth is part 2, was just extra sprinkles on top. After that, I went and checked on Twitter and people were hyped, and for good reason. Now, let's take a closer look at these 2 big names because there are some missing details I think that are very important to go over. Not to mention, when you look at the Japanese trailers, there's a couple of extra little things that are just kind of more clarified. And so I want to go over those with you. First, we got to start with my man, Zach in Crisis Core. I'm sorry, I'm a little biased when it comes to that, okay? Just saying. Now, if you've never played the original Crisis Core back on the PSPN, well, what was it? Oh, 2007, which I don't blame you. It's been a while since those days. It's basically a prequel story to Final Fantasy VII. It showed how Cloud became a soldier, what really happened in the past, including Sephiroth, and introduced fans to a brand new character, Zack. Now, regardless of who you personally like, Zack was a great addition to the world of Final Fantasy VII. He had a much more upbeat attitude than Cloud does, had his own dreams of reaching the same rank as Sephiroth as a hero, who, by the way, is actually a good guy for a good chunk of this game, how he actually met Aerith before Cloud did, and so much more that I could go into, but this video would then be an hour long, and I don't want to waste your time on that. Now, the downside again to this game was that unfortunately it was only on the PSP at the time, and that was over 10 years ago. A lot of people were not able to play this game and could only really learn about it through watching walkthroughs on YouTube or reading Wikipedia pages. People have been wishing for some kind of remaster or port of this game for quite some time. In fact, some of the aspects of this game, in terms of the combat at least, kind of paved the road for how the combat would eventually end up in Final Fantasy VII Remake. At least that's the way I personally look at it. It's not exact or anything like that, but it's kind of like an early beta build into how we would eventually see Final Fantasy Remake combat. Now, according to Square, this is more than just a simple remaster. Quote, Reunion won't simply be a remaster, but is adding new features to the game. Not only will it have updated graphics, but a full voice cast, improved camera control, new environments to explore, and an updated interface. End quote. Now, it's not stated here explicitly, but it would not surprise me if we could also see a few extra cutscenes that maybe the PSP was not able to quote unquote handle, not because of the power or anything, but just simply because maybe of the size of the game at the time, or maybe they wanted to add some extra stuff in. Let's be honest, they've done it literally with part 1, so I wouldn't be surprised if they throw an extra few things in there for us. Who knows? Hard to say. We got half a year until this game releases. Regardless, I am personally super hyped for Crisis Core, and if you've never played it, I highly recommend picking it up when it comes out. The story and the world are excellent, and the combat is just really fun. We, of course, will be reviewing this game on the channel, so sub to stay up to date on all things Crisis Core, because don't worry, we 100% will be covering this. Now, let's get into the last reveal, and probably the one that most people are excited about, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, I'm going to get into that word rebirth here in a second because it actually potentially has a double meaning there. Now, one detail that they did reveal at the end of the stream was that the Remake series that they've been building since the Remake Part 1 will have one more game after Rebirth to basically become a trilogy. So put your comments down below right now. Let me know what you think the name of the third game will be. We got Remake, Rebirth. What's the final one going to be? Let me know. All right, on to that title Rebirth. It actually has more importance than you might think. When you take Rebirth and you put it in Japanese, it's pronounced Ribasu. It actually has 2 interpretations depending on when it's used and how it's used. The first meaning could simply be rebirth, as we already seen it here. But the other way that you can translate this word is actually reverse. Now, this one personally makes a little bit more sense to me since Nomura has basically said F it and thrown as much time travel and changes as he wants into Final Fantasy VII right now, which is definitely divided the community, just gonna say right there. Especially near the ending of Part 1 Remake, and it seems to continue here in Part 2. Could this mean the timeline is reversing though, or the rebirth of Sephiroth and in return Zack as well? I mean, that ending alone in Part 1 when we got out of the city was just like a big shock to everybody, especially if you had already played Crisis Core and all the other games that were connected to Final Fantasy VII. I mean, that ending in Part 1 did get us out of the city, but that big battle we had with the silver hair bro dude was not in the original, and that clip of him and Cloud was definitely not there. So what the heck is going on, Nomura? You got some splaining to do. Anyway, the only other stuff that we saw was simply Cloud walking in the environment like we saw in the first game, but we did see Sephiroth walking by. Not sure if I remember this correctly. It's been a long time since I played the original game, but I think this has to do with him seeing Sephiroth when nobody else can. Again, I think in the original game, there was a moment where you could like hear Sephiroth's voice / technically see him, but we obviously didn't see that in such great detail on the screen at the time when the original game was made. It was kind of like a hallucination moment, I think, but again, I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I played the game. One line that definitely caught my attention in the Japanese trailer actually was Cloud saying, "Zack, where are you? We came here 5 years ago."
5年前、俺たちは一緒にここに来たのか。ザックス、どこにいるんだ。
You were here with me 5 years ago. Where are you? What happened to you?
I'm not sure if it actually means anything. It was technically said in the English version as well, but when the way he says it in Japanese it just clarifies a little bit better. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as we learn more about this game going forward. Other than that though, we got a winter 2023 release window and confirmation from Nomura that part 3, whatever that name is going to be, is already being worked on. Lots of speculation is going on due to part 1's ending, the time travel, and just things based off of this like 10 to 15 second trailer that we got here. So with that being said, it's gonna be a very interesting year and a half before this game even releases. But hey, at least we got Crisis Core this upcoming winter and a lot of other games from Square, like we mentioned at the beginning. Now, like I stated at the beginning of the video, we didn't really go over any of the mobile stuff here because again, that's not really my cup of tea personally. So I hope these games turn out well if you happen to like them. Let us know your thoughts in the comments if you happen to see this video later, if you've tried those out and how they've turned out. But with all that being said, that's basically gonna wrap up this video, guys. What were your thoughts on the reveal for the stream and everything Final Fantasy VII in the 25th anniversary? Also, don't forget to tell us what game you're most looking forward to again and why. Let us know down below in the comments. We love seeing your comments and replying if we possibly can. Finally, don't forget to hit that sub button and stay up to date on everything Final Fantasy and gaming, and leave a like if you enjoyed this video. We really do appreciate it. I've been Tallen with 59 Direct. I cannot wait to see you in the next video. It's gonna be a blast. Johnny.